everybody here was going to make every kid look at themselves and say, well, I'm already somebody, but I intend to do great things one day. See, this is what you got from walking down the street in Pleasant Hill. You know, people would ask you, baby, what college are you going to? Not if you're going to go, but which one. And you're 6 and 7 years old when you hear this stuff. There was a day that I was standing near I-75, and it was all dug out, and it was high school, early high school. And I stood there and I looked at it and I said, I wish I were old enough, to do something about this. Wish I were old enough and had enough knowledge to know how to fight this, or how to get it done the right way. And then I found myself back almost in the same spot.
The house was on Wood Street, 2 rooms and a kitchen. Mama washed in for white people. We had to carry, I would say carry, not tote, but carry wood from the branches and from places to put around this big black pot where Mama boiled clothes at. We had to tote water from the spring up.
Where was this spring at?
Under the hill on Wood, right up under the where the cemetery is. Linwood Cemetery.
And every time I would mention writing, my father or somebody in the house would say, well, your daddy went to school with John Oliver Killings. Little ashy-legged boy grew right up there on Ward Street. And that resonated for me because I was a little ashy-legged girl who lived down on, on Forest Avenue, but it was all part of Pleasant Hill. And I remember thinking, you mean to tell me a writer, and this is maybe when I was 12, 13, and could, explore this, his work a little bit and sort of knew who he was. And I said, you mean a person can come from Ward Street, come from Macon, Georgia, and be a writer and write about things? And, he was an activist with, that was another part of John Oliver Killings, with Harry Belafonte. He wrote screenplays for Hollywood. I loved movies. He wrote plays. I always wanted to go to Broadway because I was a reader. In my household, reading, everybody read all the time. And one of the things, my mother was a woman who was born in Macon and really didn't travel until, widely, until she became an adult, until we were adults, kind of. But she was a sophisticated, she sewed, so she was a wonderful seamstress, so she read Vogue, and, that's widened our world. She read Frank Yerby, she was, read all the things on the bestseller list. My father read science fiction and cowboy thing. You were, in our house, you were not doing nothing when you were reading. Because they would say, Tina she's reading. So, of course, we kept books by us all the time, so we didn't have chores. So, this was so important to us to go out into the world and know that someone from Pleasant Hill, had gone out into the world. And so that world was sort of wide because of the reading.
When I was 12, 13, 14 years old, some of the important places was Booker T. Washington Center, Mattie Hubbard Jones Playground. Let me rewind that. Mattie Hubbard Jones Playground was important to me when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, in addition to that. When you go to Mattie Hubbard Jones Playground, you know that you're going to have a good time. It's going to be so many activities provided for you to participate in. And you didn't feel threatened. You felt safe there because Miss Mattie Hubbard Jones was the person that ran that playground, and she was a no-nonsense person. She was a very small person in stature, but when she spoke, people listened. Nobody gave her any lip back in those days. But those were some places that was very integral in my life when I was growing up. And of course, you had a place called JB's on the top of 3rd Avenue. Teenagers went up there to have a Sunday. It's kind of like the Fonz, which you see on TV, the little places that they go and have a good time. We participated in that also. And of course, Saturday night, people have fish fries. You buy fish sandwich for 15 cents, and the adults was drinking beer. Of course, I didn't participate in that, but I was 8, 9, 10 years old. I might buy a fish sandwich and a soda. I think that probably cost me about $0.25, and we just had good times. We just loved one another. It was just one big happy family.